Rookie here. It's the Pat and JT podcast.
Pat and JT podcast.
It's Pat and JT, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Listen to our podcast. We appreciate it. Subscribe, rate, review. Wherever you get podcasts is where you can find us. If you're listening on our website, which is patandjt.com, it's awesome. Click the links below there, and it can take you to other platforms like Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, TuneIn,
all across
Stitcher,
the board.
all of them. Just make sure you subscribe and review and share with your friends. We'd love it. Thanks.
Absolutely. I wanted to grab, first off, we're going to start with, I got to turn off, hold on. I got to turn up my headphones.
Okay.
We're just talking about this.
It's
It's like we had an Airbnb at our studio or something.
Right.
And somebody borrowed our, we have, as
Everything's
you know,
messed up.
As you know, our company is Parkville Media.
Mm-hmm.
And we do produce podcasts for other people and other businesses. And it's a ton of fun, and it gets crazy sometimes. You know, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of parts moving, and then when you start hooking up everybody's microphones, and then you've got headphones, and then you've got things that have to plug in, and pretty soon there are just like cords going everywhere, and then the party's over, everybody goes home, and you come back in and you realize there's still somebody passed out on the couch. You've got empty beer cans underneath the, not really, but
your ottomans in the den.
Everything is askew. And I was just telling Pat, honestly, this feels like when you take your car in for repairs or something, then they always take time to clean it up for you. Like I took it down to Shadow Lake, right? Because I had a little fender bender. And they cleaned the entire inside of my car, which had just been detailed like 3 weeks earlier.
Right. Yeah,
so
I
it wasn't
that.
a lot to do. I've never had such a clean car right now.
Seriously,
This is
I bet.
crazy good. But when they clean sometimes too, or you have your car in for service, they might accidentally, as they clean, turn off some things or turn on some things or move the seat back or something, and your memory switch gets reset. Everything was askew.
You have no idea how to fix some of the
Couldn't
stuff.
figure out how to turn my damn dashboard lights on. They were black.
That, especially those things when it's like a dial or a button that you never hit. Like, why would you ever turn your dashboard lights off unless you're being creepy? So why would you know how to turn them back on? You wouldn't.
There's a dimmer switch for the entire dashboard. So as you're sitting there,
Oh, dang it. I've hit that with my foot before. Not yours, but the one in
Thank
my
you.
car. Yeah, it's weird.
and it just, the whole thing is just dims out. It's not like on or off.
Yeah.
I don't know what the purpose of dimming it is unless you're stalking someone.
Right, because if you're driving, if you're dimming, that means you're gonna get tired. It's gonna lull you to sleep. You don't want that.
Can't see how fast you're going.
Right.
Can't see how much gas you got.
I don't get it.
Can't see anything. And I could not for the life of me figure out.
Did you Google the dashboard schematics?
No, I did not have to. Thank God. I was
Found it?
that close though. I've had to do that before for my egg cooker. I did.
Well-
I had to do that because I couldn't remember. I know, long story short, somebody was asking about making hard-boiled eggs, and I always traditionally had done it in a pan. And I would put cold water, fill up the pan halfway, put the eggs in, put it on high, and set a timer for 25 minutes.
And it'd be done.
Perfect. Every time. But it was the same pan.
Yeah.
It's my stove. I know, it all works. That was my formula to work on that stove. That's not probably going to work on everybody's stove because others, some get hot faster, and it's an electric stove. It's not gas. My water might be colder than yours. I don't know.
A lot of science in this
that
story.
was how I always did it. And then I got an egg cooker. And I legit don't know how long it takes when you're cooking an egg to get the perfect egg or to get a soft-boiled egg. A perfect soft-boiled egg, I've discovered, is a 6-minute soft-boiled egg.
A soft-boiled egg, to me, if you need a soft-boiled egg, or if that's your preference, it's like you are high maintenance. Like you want a hard-boiled egg, but not too hard. You want a runny yolk, but not too runny. I want it to be perfect. Soft-boiled, come on, that is the most high-maintenance way to get an egg.
It is
just
not.
eat a freaking egg.
No, it's kind of like and when you get fried eggs, and you can have them sunny side up or over easy, over medium, et cetera, right?
Right.
So
you can dip your toast in the yolk.
Yeah.
If you want to.
So you can cook them instead of putting them in a skillet. You can just cook a soft-boiled egg, 6-minute soft-boiled egg. Perfect.
Just sounds elitist to me. It just does.
So that's why I was having to Google the manual for my little egg cooker because you just hit the button and say go for hard-boiled eggs, and it's perfect every time. I don't know what the magic is. It knows, how much water you put in it. It just is,
all science,
it's decided on how many eggs you're cooking at one time.
It's all science.
But I've cooked my first soft-boiled egg in it recently. And it was perfect.
Congratulations. And you found the instructions on the internet.
Yes, I did. So I did not have to
Congratulations.
Google, though, how to work my dashboard. I didn't have to do that.
I was telling you too that I have the software that we use to edit our stuff. This morning I was using it, and I'm a pen clicker, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
I hadn't noticed.
And I had my pen. I was
When did you
flipping-
start doing that?
just picked it up over the weekend. Oh my God. Was flipping my pen around, and it like slipped out of my hand and was heading just out of reaction, heading towards my computer. So I just went to catch it, and my fist hit the keyboard, and like must have hit like 8 shortcuts on this, and the Adobe went like different color and then wider, and now I have no idea how to get it back.
Now, Adobe is his program that he uses for editing
Yeah.
audio.
So I'm not going to Google
And-
it, it actually looks okay. So when I close out, maybe the defaults will take over once I reopen
There's
it.
a button in the top right. I'm just going to tell you, I know nobody else cares. Top right hand corner,
Yeah.
where you can change the way it looks.
Oh.
You can set it back to default.
But then I will do that.
Maybe that's it. I don't know.
So maybe there's a shortcut on the keyboard that my fist hit and it.
Didn't even know that was there.
had no clue.
Had no clue. All right. So a couple of stories I just had to grab. One in particular is a little bit longer than the other ones. And I think let's just start there just because it's a serious news story, but it affects you in particular, at least in my estimation. I don't know. Maybe I'm the tinfoil hat in the room, but the stuff that's been going on in the Dominican Republic and the deaths and the illnesses have been increasing. Some people say it's just hyperbole. It's just a light's been shined onto something that's been happening. It's not irregular. That somebody's trying to make something out of nothing. Somebody even said 2017, 2018 for that 2-year period that actually a total of 30 Americans had died in the Dominican Republic, and just of late everybody's been paying attention,
Right.
because of the suspicious circumstances, similar circumstances, way too similar circumstances, and too similar excuses or causes.
Right. Just saying, oh, well, we don't know what happened, so it's obviously cardiac
Heart
edema,
attack.
heart, whatever. Yeah.
Everything's heart attack, and it's like, but they don't have any heart problems.
Yeah, one guy
Heart attack.
had a physical the week before he went down on vacation and died of supposedly a heart attack.
And his brother's not having it.
No.
As a matter of fact, I think I'd seen somewhere that he's fighting right now to get blood samples because he wants to send them in for toxicology reports and for other testing as well, trying to get a hold of him. The FBI, actually, in one of the stories that I grabbed, the FBI and the CDC are both investigating the deaths that have been happening. Some of the testing is going to take up to 3 weeks that they just recently had submitted. So it's still going to take a while, and there's still people that are going, and there's still people saying, how many people go every year?
Right.
mean,
That's kind of
thousands.
we're planning a trip in December there.
That's why red flag.
The week before all this stuff started hitting, we booked our honeymoon. We got married last December, and
he
we
calls
didn't want
it
to
their
take a honeymoon.
I'm calling BS.
That's what. Well, that's
What happened the week before you got married?
Okay, so here's the timeline of what happened. We went
Whatever.
to Cancun. We went to Cancun, but
But that's not the honeymoon.
No, because Beth booked that trip before we were even engaged. She because before we got fired, and I didn't propose till after we lost our jobs.
Why did she? I don't get that.
Yeah, because she had a great deal and found in his place that she had been
No,
before.
I mean, you didn't propose till after you got fired.
I
she
did,
still said
'cause
yes.
I knew that she's not going to want to be with a guy who ain't got no jizz on.
Did you tell her before or after?
Nope, after. I went to work and faked it for 3 weeks. And don't listen to the radio. Bad signal. And don't log online.
Don't log on either.
Yeah. So, yeah, she booked that trip to Mexico. We went there, lost our job, whatever, went December.
Yeah.
And then got married the Friday after we got back. So it just so
So
happened.
it wasn't anything like a honeymoon.
No, it wasn't. We fought the whole
was
time.
awful.
Fought the whole
Terrible
time.
time.
Didn't make out one time.
Awesome. Okay.
And so then with the money we got from our wedding, we said we're gonna put this in a fund and go on a trip in a year. So that's what we did. That's what we decided to do. And ironically, she booked the trip, and the next week, all the news started breaking about these people in the Dominican Republic, and that's
Suspicious deaths and
where,
illnesses.
But it's a resort that we went to in Cancun, and it's Hyatt, and so Hyatt, big company. It's the same. They have a brand new resort in the Dominican Republic. And it's a Hyatt as well. And if I'm not mistaken, I think a lot of these deaths maybe were at not humongous resorts, correct? They weren't at like the Hyatts or the Marriotts or was one at a Hard Rock, I know.
There was at least it's spread out pretty evenly. It's like 10 different locations. It's not just one. It's 10 different resorts all the way around the island. It's not like just on this side of the island or just this company or just this. It's not. They can't find that connecting. What it is that. What's
at first they thought it was the alcohol in the minibar, right? That's what they're saying.
Because they had like 3 or 4 or whatever handful or less of deaths that all had drank from the minibar. I personally, aside from one time in college when I didn't know better, have never known anybody to eat or drink anything from a minibar.
I haven't. I ate some. I think a Snickers one time from a hotel, but I have never.
$17.
And it has nothing to do with safety or anything. It's
No,
and especially
it's expensive.
if you're at an all-inclusive resort, why on earth would you have a little thing of alcohol from a minibar?
I don't understand if you're at an all-inclusive why they have the minibar. Oh, of course, they're hoping somebody will take it, I guess.
But it's all like, why? I don't get why. You're right. Why would they even have it? Because everything is included, unless that was one that's kind of like food's included, not liquor. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
It really it doesn't. I'm trying to, because like on cruises, I haven't been for a while, but on the cruise, same basic scenario. It's like all inclusive, but it doesn't include your alcohol.
Right.
But I know a lot of the resorts do.
All of them. I've never been to one. I know they have some that aren't. But for the vast majority are you pay a price and it's everything. And it's something that when we went down to Mexico last December. And I know that if it's whatever, the first part of the story about it potentially being the alcohol and tainted, or we got to be careful where it's bottled. And when we got to the room, they cracked open a brand new bottle of Absolute for us. And it was like, we're like, wow, it's Absolute. It's not like Absoluto, something. But then you start thinking, okay, did they get it from the United States, or was it something that was bottled somewhere where there aren't as many regulations as there are in the United States?
Most of the companies, and I don't know, this was just one of the reports that I had heard, and it depends on where you're staying. That's the thing is, you don't have that common thread. Some of them only get their alcohol from the United States, but the whole thing is seeing that they're all sealed.
Right.
And I don't know if people pay a lot of attention to that. Now they will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whether or not it is sealed. I got suspicious the other day when I'm buying imitation vanilla to use for my Kahlua.
Right.
And the lid was loose.
Sure, I would too.
And I'm like, you take it off. It's still sealed on the bottle, but it's still just it was just creepy that the lid was loose. And so I'm like, okay, we'll get this one instead.
Yeah. I'll put that back up here for some other
somebody else. I didn't turn it in.
Some other sucker.
I didn't.
Nice.
I totally walked out without saying a word about it. Oh, by the way, there's some tainted vanilla extract back there in the baking aisle.
Nice. Way to go.
Anyway,
but even if it was sealed, it still doesn't mean that it was necessarily bottled. And what are the regulations? It probably was. If it was shipped from the United States, that's one thing.
Well,
but
it depends on the companies. It depends too. Like if you're dealing with a Hyatt, I'm sure they have their contractors. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they do that. Nobody really questions it. It's just, you just assume everything's safe. And
you're hammered the entire time when you're at all-inclusive.
And when you're at an all-inclusive, you feel like you're at an extension of the United States.
True. That is very true.
Which is not even close to being the fact, but that's what you kind of feel like. You just have this extra layer of protection. And sadly, most of these have been happening at all-inclusives.
Yeah.
Crazy. So, and on top of that, we now have 10 people that they said have passed away or died in the DR under suspicious circumstances that they're looking into. It was 8 24 hours ago, then 9 last night, and now 10 today. Then this other story popped up yesterday, which was about a bunch of Jimmy Buffett fans, parrot heads. They decided they were going to go to the tropics, pick an island. And so the Jimmy Buffett Central Oklahoma Parrot Head Association, which I have to think those people are a hoot, decided to do a Caribbean vacation for their members, and they decided to go to the Dominican Republic. And this was not that long ago, but there were 114 that went. And so they were in Punta Cana.
Yep.
And they were, had their music and they were drinking their drinks, and then ends up that about 45 of them got sick. 47 like bedridden.
Jeez.
Sick. All of a sudden they're not out on the beaches anymore.
Not tearing it up.
They're spending their vacation in their beds.
That would be awful.
They were all sick. One guy literally during the time of their vacation lost 14 pounds.
Good Lord.
That's
sick.
He was losing, everything was coming out of him. Nothing was staying down.
That is awful.
Everything. And not too long after that, I think it was just 2 months before, another group from Oklahoma, which happened to be about 60 seniors, high school seniors, went to the Dominican Republic for their senior trip. And at least nearly 10 of them were violently ill to the point of going to the hospital. And not saying exactly what it was, but the FBI and CDC are looking into that as well.
It's too coincidental.
Right. And then a name you will know, Melissa Rycroft. You always liked her, right? Bachelorette.
Yeah, I love
Remember her?
Melissa. Yeah.
Melissa?
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, and she's a bachelorette, and then she was
Jason
on Dancing
broke
with
her
the
heart.
Right?
Thank God, though, it was the best thing that ever happened to both of them, those crazy kids.
Thank God for unanswered prayers.
That's right.
Anyway, so she's married now. She has 3 kids, and they went down to the Caribbean, and lo and behold, next thing you know, she is violently ill and suffering severe stomach cramps, ended up in the hospital with severe low blood pressure and can't keep anything down. And so it was a good 3 or 4 days, and they were doing a parasite test. They were doing everything else. They still don't know what it was. And that was just on TMZ today.
So who knows? They'll find it. They'll find out what it is. I'm fine. Well, I think we're okay. We have 6 months till we go. So if it was next week, we may think about it a little bit, but
right,
it's 6 months.
We'll throw in some good news. And this came statistically, these numbers are not out of the norm. So statistically, in fact, would-be tourists are still more likely to be killed in the U.S. than outside of it.
Yeah.
And according to the U.S. State Department, they track fatalities of United States citizens abroad, and especially so-called unnatural causes, auto accidents, suicides, homicides, drownings, etc. First 6 months of the year, 14 Americans died in 2009, 13 and 16, 15 and 11. So it's not excessive.
Yeah, which is...
And travel advisories is another thing. Have you checked the federal website for the travel advisories?
I haven't.
I'm just going to throw this out there because I found this kind of fun to look through. There's a website that is travel.state.gov, and then there's a whole bunch of other gobbledygook. So we can include this for you.
Perfect.
Everybody else, if they want to take a look, because you can find it has a list of every country that there's a travel warning.
But is this almost like going on Google for what ails you? Like find out what's wrong with you. It's like you could be this.
No.
I mean, is it ever this extremely safe to go out of this country? It's
Well,
not
put
like,
it this way: this website, even though we have 4 levels, that one is like normal precautions. I can't remember what. Hold on. Number 4 is do not travel. If it has a 4, reconsider travel if it's at a 3. Exercise increased caution if it's at a 2. Dominican Republic has not been changed since April, and it's still at a 2.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so that's good. But under all these warnings, there's also one warning that's at the very top or bottom, depending on how you sort these out. It's called worldwide caution.
Oh, good Lord. As in, no matter what happens, don't go to these places.
Well, bottom line, just pay attention is what it comes down to. I mean, it's just like, guys, there's a lot of crap going on all around the world. There are people they're pulling crap that they, trying to get attention, whether it's political, whether it's terrorist, whether it's just plain criminal. And it just has a list of like the soft targets to be careful of when you're out and about, tourism infrastructure, tourist sites in particular, soft targets. Yeah. Airports, schools, churches, all the stuff that we hear all about normally. It's just pay attention to your
just
surroundings.
Look around. If something looks odd, it could be odd.
And so the Dominican Republic. So I pulled this for you so you can have this.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And it's really cool though when you pull it up and then you can look through everything is on here. Like it's got a list of everything you need to know considering where the embassies are, safety and security precautions, passports, vaccinations, et cetera, and stuff like that.
That's good to have. That's good info.
Et cetera, stuff like that, and maps and things.
All that kind of stuff.
Made me think of her. And that poor little pageant queen.
And the Iraq is such as. Yeah, I don't know. You think, and then you hear stories of people, missionaries that want to go out and do great work and go into these places that are extremely dangerous and end up getting killed. Like that guy who wanted to go preach to those people on the island that don't even know what airplanes are, and he's just like, I'm being
They've killed
led
everybody
to go there.
that's come close to their island,
and so he kayaks up and he gone,
and he's killed.
I mean, it's right. These guys they're shooting arrows at helicopters. You couldn't communicate. So the fact that you go there, it's going to be dangerous. You walk the border of Afghanistan and whatever the other stand is, and then you're shocked that your kids are kidnapped. It's like you guys. Obviously,
such a Western American thing
right?
To say.
I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
And the other stand,
whatever. Afghanistan and Pakistan. There you go. I couldn't think of it. I don't know if they
do
they border.
I don't
Whatever. Anyway, you walk aboard, dangerous border.
But they're both on the do not travel list.
Pakistan.
Literally.
Right.
It's Iraq, Sudan, Venezuela. You mentioned, what was it? Afghanistan travel advisory, do not travel. Level 4. North Korea's on that list, folks.
Right.
So
Don't.
do not travel.
Just a heads up, don't travel.
But it is kind of fascinating when you look through the entire list because you can reorder it like from 1 to 4, kind of see what countries are there alphabetically or however you want to. It's pretty fascinating stuff. So I'll give you this little packet.
Thank you.
So you guys can study it.
It's going to we're going to be okay. Plenty of time. Plenty of time for them to sort all this stuff out.
Yeah, you got time. I think you'll be just fine.
Yeah.
By then, I hope.
We'll be fine.
Let's go back to the website real quick here. Not the website, Facebook pages. Too had a
Excuse
really
me.
sweet little note. You're excused.
Jeez.
Said, just wanted to tell you guys, and this came from Connie. Just said, I wanted to tell you guys a couple weeks ago, I listened to the podcast with Vers on it when he talked about the Portobello mushroom fries.
Oh, yeah.
That they serve there at Paisans.
I've thought about that a couple times since you mentioned that.
That very night that she listened to the podcast 2 weeks ago, she said, I drug a friend to Paisans and we had those and pizza. The food is amazing. The place is super relaxed and comfortable. Service on point. Even got to meet the big guy himself.
I don't think you have a choice to meet the big guy himself because he comes out and sits down and talks to people, and that's Vers.
He talks to everybody that comes in that place. But said just as real there as he is on your podcast, a really great place. And I love, love, love the podcast even more than when you were at that other place. Because
Ooh, that's cool.
says there's no music and no ads to get in the way.
That's right.
Thanks for doing this. Connie, thank you for the note. I really
Thank you,
appreciate
Connie.
that. That's very sweet. Very, very sweet. The only other thing I have is Taylor Swift's in trouble.
Why?
And is she your girl?
T-Swizz, yeah.
You kinda
She's my girl. I do like T-Swizz. I don't even know politically, probably not.
well,
she's
she's never
annoying
really-
sometimes. She endorsed a lot of she got really political. Like was it like during the midterms and like but whatever.
I'm fine with that.
Right.
And I think she was more, she might have been leaning. I just saw it more as trying to encourage people to vote and to get involved. But
Yeah.
still, either way, she put out some new songs. I hadn't even heard the first one yet. Me is what
you
it's
haven't?
called. I have
That's
now.
good. That's a great song.
You like that song.
I pretty much love everything that she does musically.
There's something, I know her music is so infectious. There is just some, she absolutely irritates.
I'm turning your microphone.
Oh my
off.
God.
What'd you say? What'd you say?
Okay, she's really nice.
Thank you.
Okay, I
that's
like
much
her
better.
I like her lots, and I absolutely loved that Katy Perry is in her latest video. Over the top, joyful, but she's getting in trouble for this latest video. The song's called "You Need to Calm Down," and it's about acceptance. It's about everybody needs to stop with the hate, and it doesn't matter. Whether it's the LGBTQ or whether it's policy or politics or whether it's
Just calm
color
that
of
blank
skin.
down.
But the part where she's getting in trouble, they said that the hypocrisy is thick because to illustrate it, she assembles her cast of glitterati. She's got anybody and everybody that wants to be in a Taylor Swift video that's famous is in this video pretty much.
Yeah.
And they're the heroes of a utopian trailer park
Okay.
where she's feuding with a cast that is made to look grotesquely hickish with missing teeth and overalls and overweight and missing hair, and they're made to be look fools.
Not like it. Okay, got it.
They're
Okay.
made to
I
be
see
looked as fools, and that everybody that's pretty is correct.
I see the hypocrisy in
and
that.
that they are not. And so apparently she's been
getting
catching a little crap on
And
that.
not one
so
person up till now said, what, maybe that's not a good idea. I don't think she cares. It's,
I don't think she does either. I don't think she cares one bit.
No.
She'll just
If I had as much money as she did, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care about a lot of things.
So there's that. So if you get a chance to watch the video,
I do love T-Swizz.
I know you do.
My brother loves T-Swizz,
Seriously.
100%.
I did not know that.
And he's one of the only trucks in the 402 where you can get in his truck, and on his playlist you will find Bone Thugs and Harmony and 22 by Taylor Swift back to back.
Nothing creepy about that at all, Mike. Nothing at all.
He doesn't care. Doesn't care.
So basically, I think that's my
I'm excited because officially, as we're doing this, if you're listening to this on Thursday, I've already done, or I'm going to be doing my consultation with Kugler. So tomorrow, as we're recording this, I'm going to be in there getting her done.
Right. This is the same place everybody else would be going for those consultations to get rid of the glasses and the contacts.
Yeah. So, and I did. I got rid of my glasses and contacts a number of years ago. So did you. Mm-hmm. So you can go, and also the same day LASIK if you're a candidate. That's a potential. That's a potential.
They've really, that's kind of always been there, but they haven't really tooted their own horn about it. That when you go in for your consultation in the mornings, in particular, plan them in the mornings, and if everything's a go. Well, let's just go ahead and get her done.
Yeah.
You don't have to go home because you get excited when you're sitting there and you find out the possibilities and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I'm ready. Let's do this. Okay, cool. Let's go get you scheduled to come back in next week. You know, and you're like, no.
Oh, yeah, I want to do it now.
I'm ready now. Let's roll. Come on. And so they've got that for you as well. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, absolutely same day LASIK is definitely on the table.
And when you go in and you they ask you where this little thing, where you heard from it, click other and just type Pat and JT podcast. That's it.
We would really appreciate that. So online, it's kuglervision.com. Click on consultation.
Also, click on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, and keep listening to our podcast. Subscribe, rate, review.
Share.
Pat and JT Podcast, a Parkville Media Production.